So when we start to change the way we view our life and become more open, and we start to heal deeper inner child woundings, we start to change our perspective. Thank you. So this shows you the difference between conscious mind and unconscious mind. Conscious mind, we know it not to be true, but unconsciously there's a pattern or a program or a belief system that we've taken on where unconsciously it is ingrained in us to be true or to be real. And so therefore our results generally indicate that. So I love this question because I've done a live on this before around when I first started this work. I started in personal development when I was 19, and a lot of it was like, fake it till you make it. Just basically pretend, just convince yourself of the thing, right? So a lot of the time, whenever we start to change how we view something, we start to go, oh no, I'll just pretend to be that which I am. Or I'll just look at myself in a different way until I believe it to be true. And yes, that can work. It will take a long time for you to consciously change a pattern that is an unconscious pattern. So yes, it can be around like having the conversations with yourself until you get to the point where it's like, okay, now I believe this. Or you can actually find out what the root cause of the underlying unconscious belief pattern, program, condition is. So when it comes to something like that, it is an external representation. It's an external perspective, right? And so what I would, based on what you've just said very briefly, I would have a look at when you're a child and people were telling you that you had old hands when you're a child, have a look at some wounding unconsciously from that angle. And then identify what your inner child needs to or needed to say, needed to feel, needed to express. Yeah, basically what does my inner child right now need for me to move through this and see this differently now? Just drop into and do an inner child meditation where you actually connect in with her and find out what she needs to say. What does she need right now? How does she want to express herself? How does she want to be held? Maybe there's some woundings there and she just wants to be nurtured and loved through that. How does she feel that she gets to now feel fully and then move through? Because we can never move on from something until we move through the emotion that is attached with that. So inner child meditation, and just truly just connect in with her and allow her to speak. And let her express how she's feeling, what she needs. And allow yourself to move through this experience that has shaped your perception of your hands. And generally speaking, when it comes to our bodies, more often than not, well, really when it comes to a lot of our patterns and programs, more often than not, it's going to be inner child stuff. Because most of it comes from generally in that first 7 years of life, our imprint years, where we receive all the information, everything coming into our neurology and it's unfiltered. So that becomes our normal. That becomes our perception of how we view the world, ourselves, other people. So a lot of the stuff is inner child stuff. A lot of it stems from our woundings from childhood, the way we view the world from childhood, the way the world was shown to be normal within that first 7-year period, because that's how we then created what our normal is. So if you grew up in a chaotic home, then your normal would feel like chaos would feel normal. anything outside of chaos would feel boring. If your normal growing up was calm and peace and serenity, and then if there's conflict, that will feel really harsh, and your sympathetic nervous system, your fight, fright, or flight, is going to like go off the Richter scale. Whereas if you grew up in that and that's your normal, yes, your sympathetic nervous system, your fight, fright, or flight is going to be activated, but chances are you're actually in that state more often than you're not in that state, because that's your normal. Whereas if you grow up and it was normal, it was peace, it was calm, your parasympathetic is probably more activated than your sympathetic. Your calm is more activated than your fight, fright, or flight. And so you'll get these random moments of like, I've got to go, I've got to fight, I've got to do the thing. So that can be a really good way of being able to determine as well, where does our relationship, not only with our body, but our self-talk come from within our childhood. But also, if we find ourselves stressed a lot, have a look at our childhood. Was it quite a stressful environment? Because that could be your normal. So when we're looking at exploring unconscious patterns, programs, belief systems, the way that this will show up in our life for us to reflect and do the work on is it generally reflects out to us via external triggers. When things are happening outside of ourselves and it's triggering, it's a reflection of an opportunity to look within at an unconscious pattern, program, condition, belief system, wound that we get to heal if we choose to look at the opportunity that's in front of us. More often than not, though, we're so busy doing this, you did this, you did this, you did that, blah, 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 that what we realize is one finger is pointing at them and three fingers are pointing back at ourselves. When we start to understand at a deeper level that this vessel, this life, is the matrix, truth, my truth, and everything we see is a hologram for us to learn and evolve and grow and experience and have all the things, then we start to play the game. We start to take control. We start to really look at, okay, well, if I'm actually producing this hologram that's outside of me, then what is it showing me? And then we start to discern from good, bad, right, wrong, because none of that exists, because it just is. It's all there for us to experience, move, grow, learn, and have this beautiful, powerful human experience of all of the emotions, all of the sunrises, sunsets, storms, rainbows, all of the things. And when we start to just look at what's externally showing us, we can then look at, okay, what's this showing for me, for my inner child? Where do I now need to look? What's the next thing? Because if we don't do that, we'll never look, we'll never know, we'll never go and explore what's unconscious, because we've got no way of knowing. And this is why a lot of women, a lot of our voices, we have a lot of throat problems, gland problems, thyroid problems, because we have shut down our throat chakra. We've shut down our vocal expression. We're too scared to speak our truth. We're too scared to have an opinion. We're too scared to fight for what we believe in. We're too scared to fight up and speak up. So this is it's a practice of speaking, and it's understanding where you are safe, because you can't go out and speak the truth with everybody. A lot of people don't want to hear it, especially when you're practicing. You want to be in a safe environment where you know that the people will hold you and you can express that, and they can be like, ooh, is that actually your truth? And also know that if you speak with soul tribe who have a level of consciousness that are not necessarily going to take your truth personally, or can then have a conversation with you, then that's your environment. You want to practice speaking your truth. Like, I'm starting to use my voice. I'm starting to speak my truth, and I don't know what my truth is. So I'm going to speak, and then maybe that truth that I said yesterday is actually not my truth, and today it's going to be different. So it's really about, it's like the pendulum swings. You've gone from I have had no voice. I haven't been able to communicate. I haven't been able to speak my truth. Generally, what happens anytime we do change is we swing all the way onto the other side and we like speak our truth to everyone about everything and blah, 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 which is a little bit projection. And we want to find that middle ground. We want to find actually what is my truth? How can I actually tune into what is my truth and not just a projection of my wounds? And then how can I communicate that in an effective way to the right people, meaning our soul tribe, who will get it while we stumble and fall, who's going to lift us up instead of push us over, until we get to the point where we're so comfortable and so confident that it doesn't matter who we speak to, we can speak our truth. And if it triggers them, we're like, I see you and it's not mine. So when we start to change the way we view our life and become more open, and we start to heal deeper inner child woundings, we start to change our perspective. Our handful of information that we're seeking to validate is different. It changes. And now all of a sudden, I don't want to validate that my body is gross. I don't want to validate that I feel like shit. I don't want to validate that I have no energy. I don't want to validate that I'm really bad in relationships. Instead, I want to validate that I'm beautiful. I'm calm, I'm receiving and deserving of all of the magical things, that I have an incredible partner. Guess what? You will start receiving more of that because you're validating that new story. You're focusing on what you want. You're changing your 216 bits from all the things that you didn't want, all the things that were validating your old stories and patterns and beliefs and blah, 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 that were probably your mums or your teachers or the religion, or, based on all of the other filters. And now you get to change it to what you want. Choosing a new timeline, choosing a new avatar, choosing a new reality, choosing a new perspective. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and follow for more. And please comment and let us know, what was your favorite part about this video? What was the thing that really deeply resonated with you that you can take away and apply in your life today? Biggest love to you. I look forward to hearing and speaking to you next time.